Are you not amused? Now let's see if I can get this back up. Good morning! Good morning. It's Monday. It's really not that exciting. Well, actually, this Monday is exciting. It's exciting for me because yesterday, my cousin, Lindsay, and her little boy, Jackson, flew in from California, and they're going to be staying with us for like a couple days. Not nearly long enough for as much as I love their faces. But I haven't seen her in years. Like, last time I saw her, she didn't have a baby. And last time she saw me, I was married, I think. And my hair was a normal color. So, I got my coffee. See that? Boss lady. I love how when I try to show people things, oh, you can see the fact that my phone is standing up on a little letter in my window. So it's Monday, and we're back at it. I have coffee. Hopefully you've had coffee this morning. This is my second cup of coffee. Yes. So it's been an interesting week. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying my daily dose of doll during the week, and hopefully you got to tune in to my fantastic fucking fun Fan Friday live feed. I think I'm supposed to stop cussing on here, so I heard that YouTube is like cracking down on anybody who's not family friendly, and I'm family friendly. I have a family. I'm gonna turn my camera. Are you guys ready for this? Oh shit, shit's getting real. It's awkward as fuck. I need my camera up there so I can look at you guys. It really sucks when you're a YouTuber of sorts. I feel like this is gonna fall any minute. It sucks when you're a YouTuber of sorts and you don't have like all the shit you need to properly make YouTube videos. So all in all, that means that you guys end up having to deal with the weird angles, the bad lighting, the constant camera adjustment. My cat's going in my closet to sleep on my shoes. So it's been an interesting week. Hopefully you guys have had a decent week this past week, since it's a new week. Hopefully you had a good weekend. I didn't do much. I had a really hard time focusing this past week, and I didn't do much other than waking up in the morning, getting dressed, doing my daily chores. I clean every day, like I sweep every day because we have animals and kids, and both of which are disgusting. And I do dishes all day, every day, because I live in a house full of boys who know how to use dishes but not clean dishes. So I do a lot of dishes. But other than that, I just couldn't really focus this week. And I talked about it a little bit on my live feed because I know that people are going to see a difference, but I also think that it's probably one of the realest things in my life that I can talk about with you guys, and I think that we can all connect on in a sort. So I don't like this. Maybe if I, hey, there we go. There's a little bit more of human. Okay, can we get our shit together, phone? Okay. So it's been one of those weeks where I just was feeling really out of it, and it kind of started like I did my fan live feed this Friday, but the Friday before that is kind of when it really started to get to me. But I talked about it on my live feed a little bit, and I recently went off my meds, the medication I take for my anxiety and my depression, which I've been on probably a year now. I've been on it for about a year, and I finally decided to take this step to go talk to somebody about it when I was overwhelmed. Like, my sales guy at the time found me crying in our parts room at work. I was like hiding, crying, and he was like, you need to go and you need to talk to somebody, and there's nothing wrong with it. I remember he was just this punk kid a frat boy who I worked with, and I absolutely adored him because he was an amazing human being, so intelligent and just so positive. He was really an enjoyable human being to meet, and I was blessed to get to work with him while I did. I remember him telling me, like, it's okay. It's okay to say, I need help. It's okay to go and talk to somebody. And I had so many reservations about first going to the doctor to talk about this issue, and I'd been struggling with it for so many years, and I just kind of got comfortable with being that way. I just got comfortable embracing the ups and downs, and I didn't know what was wrong with me, and I didn't really have anybody in my family to talk to about it, which is weird, because my mom, she would kill me for saying this, but my mom, I believe, has some disorders as well. Definitely anxiety and depression, 100%. She's the only person I know in my life that can just be gung-ho about everything, just like super happy and super positive, and everything's gonna be fine and we're gonna get through this. And then the next minute she's like, I don't even know why I'm alive. I'm ready to die. Can Jesus come get me? And it's like, whoa, lady. So she goes like 0 to 100 really quickly. And she said that the only time that I didn't tell my mom when I went on antidepressants because I was worried. I didn't know how she was going to feel about it. I didn't want to be turned into some case or told that, I was being dramatic or I was being crazy, which I should have known better. So when my mom finally did figure it out, I remember we sat in the sunroom and we had a discussion about it, and she's like, I was on antidepressants for a while and it really helped me. And I remember when she was on them, my mom's the only person in the world that I know that can take Chantix, that anti-smoking medication that usually makes people want to kill themselves. It makes her feel normal. So I told her, I was like, Mom, only you could take something that usually drives people crazy and it make you balance out. But she was also on antidepressants at the time, and she was going through a lot with my sister. And who was at the time her new husband. They've been married now for like 11 years, I think. Long time. But she was going through a lot with my sister, and my sister was kind of trying to take control of her own life at the time, and she had taken my niece. My nephew wasn't born yet, but she had taken my niece away from my mom, and my mom just lost her shit. Like, everything just kind of closed in on her, and it was just too much. And she went to the doctor to get on Chantix, and I think she didn't really say, but I think she also went to talk to him about depression, because she had said that she got to the point where, because she didn't have my niece every day like she used to, and my niece was her whole world, and my niece was only 3 at the time. She's 13 now. But my mom had said, I got to the point where I was looking at the tree in the backyard going, who would miss me? That's a dangerous place to be. That's a very, very dangerous place to be. And my mom went and she got put on some medication, which she didn't stick to. And ultimately she just it was a cycle. It was like, I'm going to take this, but now I don't want to kill myself anymore, so I'm going to forget about it. And it worries me. My mom has always had these issues. She was always, and I'd like to state first that my mom is a beautiful human being. She's one of those people that's just artistic and creative, and she always wants to make other people happy, and she finds joy in making other people happy, but it's almost to a point where she needs other people. Like, she has to be that knight in shining armor for people, so she feels good about herself. She finds her worth in other people, making other people happy, which, I mean, it can be it's great to do things for other people, but I feel like my mom has a lot of personal things that could be worked on, and because they're not addressed, she can't get past them. She had a really rough childhood. She had a really rough life. She's told me some stories, and I was sitting there in our kitchen while she was telling me, and I was just heartbroken. I was like, how in the fuck did you survive this? Like, oh my God, I never knew this about my mom. And as kids, we don't think about that kind of stuff with our parents. Like, We just know our parents as who they are. And I mean, we know they had a childhood and they talk about stories and this and that, but they don't really talk about the struggles that they went through in depth. And that was the first time my mom ever really opened up and told me about some things that she went through. And it started to make sense why maybe that she struggles with the problems that she does. I know her and my grandma never really got along that well because my mom was always the problem child in a sense. My grandma's very black and white. Like, it is what it is. Right is right, wrong is wrong. According to her, like, whatever her opinion is. She's very cut and dry, and my mom is a very out of the box thinker, very colorful, very, she was a wild child when she was younger. So her and my grandma, you know, they always butted heads. Always, because my grandma's a realist and my mom isn't. So my grandma just didn't know how to deal with her. She didn't know how to address my mom's problems or approach my mom's problems, and I think that's probably where it really got out of control, is that my mom never really had that support from somebody who understood her. I mean, at one point my grandma committed her to a crazy house, and my dad broke her out. So they have that history together. But my mom has this repeated history of, you know, I wouldn't say mental illness, but these episodes of things. And she's gone through some other stuff that I have opinions on, but I'm not 100% sure, and I don't want to speak on them just because it's my opinion. It could be completely off base, but she goes through these episodes where her body and everything just completely turns off. And I think mentally she thinks it's a medical issue. Like, she thinks something's wrong inside her body, but really it's a mental thing that's causing this. And we've gone through those episodes a lot, and I've taken care of her through those episodes. And it's always really hard, and it's always really scary to see the rock in your life kind of struggle and need help and just completely almost give up, and she just can't get past it. And I've noticed it's always in times in her life when she's done, like stress-wise, emotions-wise, like something's usually going on in our lives where she just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. So it's like she checks out of her mind, and then it's like a body thing. Like, if I'm sick, if I'm in the hospital or something's wrong with me, maybe people will leave me alone kind of thing. I don't know. It's always been a concern of mine. Doctors, everybody, no one can find out what's wrong with her. She's gone through every test, every scan in the book, and nobody can ever find anything, and that's why I'm always led back to thinking, well, maybe it's a mental thing, and maybe that's where I got it from, you know? And I think that's why me and my mom are struggling really bad right now, because I think that after a house fire, and maybe knowing that me and my kids were going to be moving to Texas, and the fact that my sister and her husband have kind of got their lives straightened out to where they have my niece and nephew 24/7, whereas my mom used to babysit them a lot and watch them a lot. And so my mom's life has made this like super quick change, and this change didn't come like, oh, well, we have to accept change. No, it's like, oh, your fucking house burned to the ground. Now everything in your life is going to change with it. So I kind of wonder if maybe that's what's fueling her behavior towards me and her behavior towards my boyfriend and everything that's going on, because none of it makes sense. So I can't help but wonder if it's kind of something's going on. And then I sit here and I feel bad. I'm like, I don't want to talk about my mom that way, but it's coming from, I'm not talking bad about her. I don't think like she's a bad person. I don't think, you know, oh, she just wants attention. No, I really think that it's a mental thing that my mom needs to address. And I think that's why I decided to finally address my own issues, because I was terrified that I would get to a point where like all of my actions were fueled by the anxiety and depression in my head. Like, I didn't want that to drive my entire existence. Like, I didn't want my every day to depend on how I was going to feel, or how my depression was going to allow me to feel, or how my anxiety was going to allow me to feel, or what it was going to keep me from, or I'm the person that will make plans, and then all the way up until those plans, I panic. Like, I fucking panic. I'm like, yeah, let's hang out. And then I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. And then all of a sudden, it's one thing after the next. I'm like, how do I get out of this? I can't deal with this. I can't be there. I can't. No, fuck no. I think the only person I haven't done that with is my wifey, Ashley, my best friend Ashley. Like, anytime she's like, bitch, let's hang out, I'm like, yes. Can it be right now? So, I didn't want my life owned by that disease. And so I finally did decide to go to the doctor and talk with them. And I was really lucky to get, I wasn't able to see my doctor, who I was lucky enough to get when I was pregnant with Ben and keep since then. But he's always so busy. He's a busy man. So I got to see a female doctor who I really think that the universe was like, this is who you need to talk to, because she's going to be able to understand where you're coming from. And I went and I talked to her, and I didn't expect the visit to go the way it did. I kind of just broke down, and I lost. Like, I had been keeping it together, and I was working so hard, and I was still going through the custody battle with my ex. And my biggest fear in the world was, if my ex finds out that I'm on medication for something like depression, he's going to use that against me. He's going to try and say I'm an unfit mother who can't deal with her own emotions, so there's no way she can deal with her children. So, and he's that kind of guy where if he can get a foot up on you, it doesn't matter what it is, if it's true, if it's fair, if it's this, if it's that, he's going to use it against me. So that was my biggest thing, is it's like, no, you need to cope. You need to just get over yourself, because if he finds out about this, he's going to use it against you, and you're going to lose the boys. He's already tried every other thing in the book against you. This will just be the next thing. He tried to use my modeling against me. He tried to claim that I was like a party animal, out all the time, leaving my kids. Stereotypical bullshit that happens through a custody battle. The obvious stuff to attack me on, which I got past. But then I realized, I was like, I can't allow his control to destroy me as a person. By worrying about him controlling my life and using my kids, and me not getting help, ultimately only holds me back. Like, I can fight through that. I can get past that. That's something that we can get past. But I can't allow my fear of him using my disorder against me keeping me from getting help for it. Because ultimately all that does is it hurts my future. It hurts me every day. But then it also hurts my kids. And that was my biggest concern. Was my relationships with people. I don't think anybody's ever picked up on my depression as quickly as my best friend has. Like, Ashley, immediately, she knows when I'm off. She's like, are you alright? What's going on? And that girl has gone through so much. She's dealt with her own depressions and anxieties, and been on medication, and talked to people, and she's gone through all of her stuff, so she knows, and she picks up on it immediately. And we cannot talk for a few days, and then all of a sudden she's texting me, and she's like, hey girl, what's going on? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, I'm checking in on you, you seem off. I'm like, bitch, we haven't talked in like a week. How do you know? So, I knew that my outward energies and my personality was being affected by it. Who I was as a person was being affected by it, and it was affecting everything in my life. I didn't want to do modeling. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to give up and hide. I felt like I was fucking drowning. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm drowning. I can't get a breath. I can't reach the surface. I'm gonna fucking die. I'm gonna fucking die here. What do I do? My kids need me. I can't. And that was ultimately the decision factor, is I was like, I can't be this way. I have to be the best mom my kids deserve. Also, my fear was that it was going to affect mine and my boyfriend's relationship, because at the time, we were still doing the long distance relationship. And I think as far as long distance relationships go, we nailed it. It was hard. and it was fucking hard. But I can definitely say that I never felt closer to a person that was in another state. Like, I lived with somebody, I was married with somebody, and I lived with them, and I didn't feel as close to them as somebody who was in a totally different state. So, I mean, there's things that are worth it. There are things that are more important than fucking distance. And so I knew that was already a very sensitive situation that we were in, and I knew that if I completely shut off from him, like, he couldn't just come into the room and hug me, or he couldn't just come into the room and tell me, hey, you know, it's gonna be fine, because we weren't together. So even though we were a team and did what we could for each other from a distance, there was still all of those little day-to-day things that we were handling by ourselves, not just me, him too, in his life. And so I didn't want that to hurt our relationship. Like, I didn't want it to put that wedge, because if there's no communication in a relationship, it's dead. But if there's no communication in a long-distance relationship, holy fuck, Katie, bar the door. So I knew I had to step outside my fears of just accepting that I had an issue. Like, I had to step outside being afraid of of saying I have depression or I have anxiety. I had my first panic attack in 3rd grade. I think I've talked about that before. I was homeschooled, and then my mom just up and pulled us out of homeschool and threw us back into public school, which somebody like me, that was a huge, huge problem, and I struggled with it, and I had my first panic attack. I remember the school psychiatrist she was, bless her heart, and it was a long time ago, but I remember sitting there feeling like, this bitch doesn't know anything that I'm going through. She has no clue. And I was only in 3rd grade, but my grandma and my mom were fighting. My mom had just moved out of the home that I grew up in with my grandma. So as a 3rd grader, I was going through colossal stress and colossal issues where my world was ending. So I struggled with that. But, like, I've always had those issues, and I have to address them. I have to address them because nobody else is going to. You know, people can tell you, hey, you need help, but until mentally you go, it's time to get some help, there's nothing anybody can do for you. And I'm sure there's cases where people are forced to do things and it works for them, but until inside you go, I'm not okay, if I don't go get help or if I don't go talk to somebody, it's going to just keep spiraling out of control. And you don't want to give up your entire life to something like depression or anxiety. You don't want to give up the beauty that is the world and the gift of life that you were given to lay in your bed and succumb to something that you can fix. You know, there's methods for everyone, whether it's medication, whether it's meditation, whether it's going and talking to a psychiatrist, whether it's daily walks or fucking smoking weed or whatever it is that you do safely to help yourself. I'm all for it, you know? And I struggled with the idea of being on a medication and putting a pill in my body that wasn't natural, but I had to do something, you know? If I can do a more natural thing, I'm definitely for that. But at the time, I didn't have that. I was living by myself in my apartment with my 2 kids, going to work every day, spending most of the time either at work or in my car commuting. I didn't have time to, like, look into things and honestly, I just didn't have the energy. I just didn't give a fuck. I was like, I don't care. Doesn't matter. But it did matter, so I finally stepped outside myself and went to get help, and it was the best thing I could do. And it took a while to get that balance. Like, the first medication they put me on, I didn't feel anything. And I remember calling my doctor, and I was like, yo, bro, help a girl out. And he's like, Emily, you gotta come in. And I'm like, you know I can't come in. You know. Like, my doctor knows my story from when I got pregnant with Ben, all the way up until my divorce and separation. And then he knew when I had my miscarriage. He called me daily to check on me. Like, as far as doctors go, he's the tits. Like, he's the best doctor I've ever come in contact with because he cares. Amazing man, but he upped my dosage. And after a few weeks, I started feeling, I didn't feel like, I'm amazing, everything's fixed, no, but I felt like I could handle my days, easier until it got to a point where I wasn't even really focusing on that side of myself. Like, I still had daily stress, I still had daily issues, I still was going through a lot, but it was easier to handle. It was easier to go to bed at night and say to myself, it may not be okay right now, but it's going to be okay eventually. It's going to be okay eventually. Soon everything's going to be okay. And that was something that was kind of like a mantra that I played in my head, was soon. It's something my boyfriend said to me. I remember I was having a really hard time, and I told him, I was like, I fucking need you. Like, I'm tired of feeling like nobody gives a fuck what I'm going through, and nobody supports me. And he told me, he's like, soon. That's all he wrote, soon. And I knew he meant soon it's going to be okay. Soon we're going to get through this. Soon you're going to be here and we're going to be a team. Soon everything is going to be okay. And so I've kind of just, soon. Everything's temporary. It's temporary. It's not forever. This is a moment in your life that you're going to walk past, and soon it's going to change. It may change for the better. It may change for the worse for a while before it gets better, but soon everything's going to change in one way or the other. It's not always going to be that way. You're not always going to be in the spot that you're in right now, that you're focused on right now. So this past week I've been struggling because I'm off my medication. So not only do I not have my medication, but I also have that transition where your body is like, something's different. So it's like one thing after the next. And, my boyfriend can tell, are you okay? Are you all right? You seem, and there was one day I just slept. My first Fan Friday live feed I missed because I slept through it. I didn't want to wake up. And that's why I missed my very first Fan Friday, because I was struggling too much. I was just having one of those days where I couldn't cope. But it's something that I'm struggling with this week, and I feel like I'm doing pretty good. I'm hoping that the change of environment, my change in lifestyle, and the fact that my cousin and her little boy are here, who I love more than anything, that baby doesn't have a daddy. I'm the daddy. So, it's something that I'm struggling with this week, but it's okay. It's okay because it's only temporary. And for some people, I talk about my issues, but if I really sit here and think, I know that my issues in the scope of things are probably so small compared to somebody else's issues who is struggling with things like, I wake up and I'm like, I just can't fucking do it. Other people are like, I can't fucking do it. I want to kill myself. Those are the people that really need that love, and they need to know that soon it's going to be okay, and soon it's going to change, and you just got to keep moving forward until you get there, because everything in life is temporary. Whether it changes for the good or for the bad, it's temporary, and we have to keep walking through those moments, because if we don't walk through those moments, we're never going to get to the other side and find out if it's going to be better. We're not going to find out if, this is even shittier than before. Let's change this. Let's take control of this, and let's change the direction that we're on right now, because it's not okay. This isn't a good place for us to be. And we have that control over our lives. We get to decide if where we are in life is where we want to be. And if it's not where you want to be, you do something to change it. I was in a point in my life where I didn't want to be there. I was tired of drowning every day. I was tired of suffering and struggling every day and not being the best person that I know I can be for me, first of all, but then for my kids and for my boyfriend and for the other relationships in my life, and even all of you. It's like, I want to be the best that I can be for all of you guys, because you guys watch me every week and you put a lot of stock in what I have to say and my opinions, and that's a lot of pressure. So that's why I think it's important for me to share all aspects of my life, whether they're positive or negative. That's why I share the struggle I'm going through with my mom, or I share the struggle that I'm going through with my depression and anxiety, or I think it's important to share that real side of myself, because ultimately we're all real people. Ultimately we're all walking the same road. We're all in this world together, and we're all going to have ups and downs, and you need to know that you're not the only one that's going through them, because a lot of times it feels like you're the only person in the world that's going through what you're going through, and clearly no one can understand. But then when I share what I share with you guys, and I get your feedback and your support and your love and your emails, it's like, oh, holy shit, other people in the world know exactly what I'm going through, and you get to talk. That's why I was open about like my divorce and my abusive relationship and everything, because if I can save a small handful of people with what I went through, going through that shit was worth it, because ultimately me going through it and coming out on the other side and sharing that piece of myself is helping somebody else also get to the other side of their situation. So I share everything with you guys, even when I'm not at my best. So that's Monday Coffee. That's what I'm going through this week. I'm going to try to go into this week more positive. I think I can do this. I'm going to have hard days, and it's not always going to be rainbows and fucking butterflies, but I'm going to do my best. And that's all I can do, right? So know that I love your faces. I love you guys so, so much. And you're going to be okay. Even if it feels like it's not okay right now, it is going to be okay. Just give it some time. If you need to make some life adjustments, make some life adjustments. Don't ever keep yourself back because you're afraid that if you move forward in a certain direction, somebody else isn't going to like it, or somebody's going to judge you, or somebody's going to be mad at you. You need to work on yourself. And if it's healthy for you and it's safe for you, then you need to move forward with it. Not everybody's going to understand your choices, unfortunately. But you weren't put on this earth to make everybody else on this earth happy. You can't put everybody at peace in this world, but you can put yourself at peace. So I think that's what we need to focus on this week, is putting ourselves at peace, doing whatever we need to put ourselves at peace this week. And next Monday, when we meet back up, hopefully we're all in a better place together. So it's a Monday Coffee. If you guys like my video and like my channel, hit subscribe. I think it's like right over here. There's like my face in a box, and if you click it, you can subscribe. That way you don't miss out on any Monday Coffee episodes or Daily Dose episodes. I'm going to start expanding my channel and doing like fun YouTuber shit, like monthly faves and swatches and just cool shit that people like to watch on YouTube. I'm going to try some new things. But if this video helped you, or you think it can help anybody else, please share it on Facebook, on Twitter, anywhere. Tag me in it on whatever social platform you share it on, so I can send you my love, because by sharing something like this, it means that you care about other people's well-being, and you're ultimately trying to help other people in the world, and that's what means the most to me. I'm not a model. I'm somebody who uses their life to try and help other people in this world that just need love and support and kindness, and ultimately that's my goal. That's my direction. So that's Monday Coffee. Take on life like a boss. Remember that I love your faces, that you guys are amazing people. And I will be back Wednesday for another daily